I mentioned before the break, some storms coming into the area here tonight. If you're interested in any severe weather coverage, James Copeland and company will have you taken care of over on the Mighty 690 KGGF. But we're now joined by running back Charles Morgan and linebacker Christian Sicard. Guys, thanks so much for being here. How are you? Good. And we'll get it started talking to you. Obviously, Charles, take me through, the last couple of weeks for you, because Coach alluded to it. The game against Hutch was your first game suiting up. And to start your college football career suiting up against the number one team in the nation, I mean, what was going through your head for that?
Well, I came off a red shirt, so a couple of running backs had got hurt, and they told me they were going to need me this week to suit up, and so I just learned the plays as quick as I could, and I was preparing to be in when they needed me, and I got a few reps, but wanted a better start, but just your first game, you were excited, you didn't know what to expect, you got that through, and then went on to the next one.
Absolutely, and something the coach had mentioned, of course, and this has been the theme throughout the year, is the quality of play from the offensive line. I mean, these guys have been winning at the line of scrimmage, opening up holes for not just you, but all five running backs on this, six running backs I think we're up to that have gotten handoffs this year. But how does I guess with you and McKentis over the last 2 weeks, it's easy to say that it makes it easier when the offensive line is blocking for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But how does that take any? Are you able to do you not think as much? Like what goes through your head when you see that the offensive line is consistently winning at the line of scrimmage? What goes through your head as a running back?
It just relaxes my mind a little bit, takes a little pressure off me, knowing that I got those great linemen in front of me. Like I just don't worry about as much. I kind of just relax. I look for the holes. I trust my guys, and whenever I see, I just go.
And, of course, we talked about the talent in this room this year with Trey Jones, of course, coming back, with Steve Robinson, with DeAndre Kelly transferring in, as well as McKentis Adams, as well as you now. And what have you learned from some of those other guys, taking reps with them every day, competing with friendly competition with them in practice? But what are some things you've learned from those guys, both on the football field as football players, and maybe some things that they do to conduct themselves off the football field?
I've learned a lot. I learned how to carry myself, how to traverse the college world with them, and they showed me a lot more things that I didn't know in high school, like how to be patient, read the blocks, make the right cuts, how to do things I didn't do in high school.
And you alluded to obviously the difference between high school and college, and I'm interested in I think every running back will probably have a little bit of a different answer, but what was kind of that? And obviously Hutchinson's a great example of, welcome to college football. You get to go up against the Hutchinson defense. But you played at Manhattan High School.
Yep.
And you play quality football teams when you play at Manhattan High School. But what was the first kind of okay, this is a different animal, this is college football moment for you when you were out there on the field?
A different animal, like back in high school, you got some big guys, you got normal guy size, but when I first seen Hutchinson, everybody's big, everybody's tall, there wasn't no small guy that looked bad or short. It's just like a whole bunch of dogs.
And they're fast too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fast, very fast.
Big and fast. That's a scary duo right there.
Mm-hmm.
But now we shift focus to linebacker Christian Sicard, and Christian, Coach told me obviously you've contributed both on at linebacker on defense this year and on special teams, but you're here tonight because of a hit you made on a kickoff where you booked it all the way down the field, and you made the returner regret bringing the ball out. So let's talk a little bit about your role on special teams. How do you prepare for that? And what goes into, we've talked to a player or two this year that play special teams, but how do you prepare mentally to make an impact on special teams each week?
Just try and see who's going to come block you each week, learn playbook, what you're doing each week, game plan, stuff like that, and just try and give effort.
And we talked a little bit with a guy that we talked to was Jack Lanning. He comes to mind because he played a little bit of safety, a little bit of linebacker. He's kind of one of those hybrid players, and it's a little different for you. But when you play special teams and when you also get snaps on defense, how do you, throughout the week of practice and throughout the film study and getting ready for opponents every week, how do you balance those two responsibilities? Because obviously this coaching staff trusts you to do both, but how do you make sure you're at the top of your game for both?
Take a whole lot of notes over everything, just everything they say, write it down, and just be ready for it when you get the chance.
And Christian, of course, I'm curious. Obviously being a part of the Raven defense, it's a team it's a unit that's historically been one of the best in the nation, especially in the last 5-6 years. But what has been one of your favorite parts, one of your favorite memories, one of your favorite moments of being a member of the Red Raven defense?
There's a whole lot. I'd say last year when we beat Butler, and just the weather and how everything went. It was just a great feeling afterwards winning.
That's a great answer. That was one of my favorite moments too. So here's hoping that a win over Butler can be replicated here in a couple of weeks. But Christian, I'm curious here as well. We talked about it with Charles about some working with some of these talented guys in your position room, and you get to see up close KJ Johnson and Marquise Lane Owens, who moved from slot corner over to outside linebacker and has made it look like the easiest transition in the world, and a guy like Jaden Shepard that plays all over the field, and a guy like Lonnie Bird, who stepped in as a freshman and made a big impact. But all the talent in that linebacker room and on the defense as a whole, what are some of your favorite things about playing with those guys, working with those guys every day, and what are some things you've learned from them as well?
Just learn how they play and stuff like that, so you have a better connection on the field. And some things I've taken is just the way they play and how what different techniques and stuff that they use when they play.
And both of you now new coordinators on each side of the ball for both offense and defense this year. And I want to get both of your thoughts on working with the first-year coordinators. We'll start with you, Charles, but working with Coach Ortiz and the way he calls a game and the way that he gets the running backs involved and the way that he spreads out the offense and, keeps defenses on their toes. I think that's something he's done a really good job of this year is mixing things up enough where the defense is always kind of wondering what's going to happen next. So what's your relationship like with Coach Ortiz, and what has it been like working with him this year?
No, it's been great. He's a very smart head coordinator, and he likes to get everything involved. He's been one of the coolest guys I've been around while I've been here. He's joking around, he's always being friendly to one of the guys, makes them feel like they're part of this team. And he's just a very good head coordinator.
And Christian, last thing, I appreciate both of you guys being on the show, but same thing on the defensive side of the ball with Kosai Eldridge, and it's, I'm sure, a pretty exciting opportunity for you because Coach Eldridge played linebacker at Texas Tech, played linebacker at Kilgore with Coach, under Coach Dobler, but down in Texas. But not only a guy that was a former college football player in the Big 12, but a guy that played your position. And so, what is your relationship with Coach Eldridge, and what has been your favorite part about working with him in this defense this year?
He's just a great coach. Everything that he sees on film, have a plan for it each and every single week. Just always stays ready and knows the answer to everything. So if you have any questions, you just ask him. He's just right on it.
Great stuff. Christian Sicard and Charles Morgan, good enough to join us this week on the Red Raven Coaches Show. Guys, thanks so much for taking some time with us, and best of luck against Dodge City this weekend.
Thank you.
Let's take a 2-minute timeout. We'll be right back with Coach Dober and Joseph Vick as we put a bow on the Red Raven Coaches Show. We're back in 2 minutes. Red Raven Coaches Show here from Wendy's in downtown Coffeyville. I'm Shane Hill. We are not traveling to Ellsworth again this week, Coach. Thank goodness.
No, do not need to go to Iowa anymore.
We will be staying in Coffeyville when the Dodge City Conquistadors come to town, and that's what we're going to be talking about here for the remainder of the show. We're joined by now quarterback Joseph Vick as well as Coach Dobler, and we'll start with you, Joseph. You get the start against Ellsworth on the road, and take me through. Obviously we've seen 3 different guys play quarterback for the Ravens this year, and all 3 I think have looked good in their respective moments. But after Chris gets the starts over the last 3-4 weeks or so, how do you stay ready? How do you stay focused? What's your routine like? So you're ready for a moment like that where you get to start against a team on the road and you go out and execute the way you did.
All I can do is stay ready, show up to practice every day, do the best I can, just wait for my number to be called.
Absolutely, and we saw, of course, your legs get involved in the game. 2 rushing touchdowns, 50 rushing yards on the day.
Yes,
What goes into that? Obviously, I know athleticism plays a role in a quarterback's ability to get outside of the pocket and make a play, but obviously when you there's some, I think it varies based on opponent, but you can see certain weeks that there's going to be more lanes to run versus other weeks. And what was it about the Ellsworth defense that you saw early in that game? Because you scored the first 2 touchdowns of the game on the ground. What did you see in those first couple drives that you were like, I'm going to be able to get outside the pocket and make some plays?
Well, we put in a great game plan against Ellsworth. No knock on them, but certain things will just get open lanes. It was happening. And the first one was kind of just, I just seen it just opened up, and I just said, why not go ahead and take it. And the second one, great call on the coaching staff. It was just our read option. It was just the outside defender bid on the running back, so I just went ahead and took it in.
And with you being the quarterback, you benefit from this more than anybody else on the team. But when you have 5-6 running backs that can make plays, when you have 6-7 receivers that can make plays, 2 tight ends that can make plays, there's so many weapons on this offense that, in defense of the Ellsworth defense, it's hard to cover everybody. So,
right.
But we talk about, of course, and I want to get your thoughts as well, on a guy we just had on the show a few minutes ago, Charles Morgan and McKentis Adams, because, you've seen this running back room be banged up a little bit in this last month or so. And for those guys to step up with not a lot of reps this year and not a lot of, college football experience, to go out against Hutchinson and to go out against a tough team an Ellsworth team on the road out of the state and step up the way they did and produce the way that they did. What does that do to the rest of the football team? What is the rest of the guys? What's the feeling when you see guys step up like that?
Oh, that just gives us nothing but hope and good energy. Seeing players waiting on their opportunity to come out and perform like how they did. All you can do is just keep feeding the monster, let them eat.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of talk on the sideline cheering on Charles Morgan.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
They were like, let him break the record. What's the record for most touchdowns?
Yeah.
It was exciting. I have no idea.
I'm going to look into it.
But just the talk and the excitement that the players had cheering him on, starters and everybody else were just cheering him on.
I was going to say, in 14 days, you go from your first college start to 186 and 4 touchdowns. So it's a pretty good 2-week little arc there you have.
Oh yeah.
But Coach, we talk now as we shift focus to Dodge City coming to town on Saturday, and Dodge City is the 2024 Highland Scotties. They were picked to come in 7th place. New head coach. Not a lot of answers to a lot of questions that this team had before the season, and I'll tell you what. Ever since week 1, they've been answering questions, and have done a great job. 6-2 record, number 15 in the nation. Obviously with the film you've seen so far, and what they've been able to do, beating Tyler, Texas, beating some other impressive wins as well. What is it about this Dodge team that has really caught a lot of people off guard? Because not a lot of people saw this coming.
It was just the whole coaching change is what shook everybody up. For them, they were a good team last year, just as good as Highland, and they went to a bowl game, I think, got a win, last year. And then it was just in the summer, a whole complete coaching change, and, that's kind of hard. And hats off to the coach staff coming in there, and then the players learning a new system and different stuff, and, got that win early versus TJC, Tyler, which is a pretty dang good football program right now, and they're just finding ways to win football games. That's all it is. They win some close ones.
And we talked about it a little bit before the show, Coach, but with the Butler Grizzlies beating Hutchinson over the weekend, this is it was a big matchup anyway. 2 6-2 teams trying to keep their bowl game hopes alive, but now it's an even bigger matchup because the winner of this game keeps their conference championship hopes alive. So, what is the key? And I know you guys have played a lot of good teams this year: Iowa Western, Hutchinson, Garden City. Well, I'm sure you found a way to manage those emotions, but now that we're in the final month of the season and you still are in conference title contention and bowl game is still on the table, what's the key to getting fired up for games like this, where you should be fired up for games like this? It's a conference game, a lot on the line, but at the same time staying composed, staying disciplined, and being ready when that ball's kicked off.
I think it's more of what you just hit on. I think the excitement's already there. I mean, they were excited on the bus whenever they realized, hey, they got life again, getting a win back. I mean, everybody was excited knowing that, hey, we have a chance. And then let alone after we got our win, we realized the upset that happened, and that even threw back in more talk about, even more excitement. So it's going to be more, can we stay focused week by week? Can we focus in on Dodge and do what we need to do to go get a win week by week? And if we win, we got to keep our hopes alive. We don't have playoffs here, but in general, it's kind of what it's setting up into.
Absolutely. And shout out to Scott Maples back in the studio. Did the research. Putzer Dayton has the school record 6 touchdowns in a game, back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
That's close.
So, Charles 2 touchdowns shy of that school record, but he's 67% of the way there is pretty good.
Yeah.
So, guys, just a couple minutes here to put a bow on this one. I'll start with you, Joseph, but I'm sure you've seen some film on this Dodge defense this year. They do have some returners, especially in that front 7. A lot of athletes, a lot of guys that can go sideline to sideline. What do you see from this Dodge City defense, and how is this offense going to continue to have success on Saturday?
Oh, this is a game plan game where we're gonna have to, Dodge, seeing they're not gonna do anything big. They want us to beat them. They're gonna play their game. We got to go out and just execute, follow the game plan, and do what we do.
And, Coach, this has become a staple of the end of the Red Ribbon Coaches show. But,
I know what you're going to ask.
Hence why it's become a staple. But Dodge City comes to town on Saturday afternoon. One team will get their 7th win of the season. What 3 or 4 things does your team have to execute for that to be you?
Well, one, it's kind of interesting to see what this weather's going to do. There's talk about heavy rain or something like that's going to be rainy all day, and so been a part of those games before where you got to take care of that ball. A wet ball, is hard to take care of, and whoever can do the best job with that, at least to limit again mistakes, freebies, and go out and perform through it, That'll be interesting to see which team can go battle through it, if it is that. It might not even be that. You know how the weather is.
68, yeah. We don't know.
Exactly. It's going to be Sunday where you go, what are we even talking about, So one, with the weather and with all that, what it might be. I mean, a wet game's an interesting game. It really is. So never really know what you're really going to get, but if you take care of the football, you'll be all right. But I'm really looking for our team to go out and do what we know we can do. Again, Hutch, Iowa Western, 1-2, talented team. Other than that, I mean, we can go compete and go out and, play really, really good football in front of our home crowd and keep the excitement alive, man.
And nothing better than, we're going to be sitting there on November 2nd, first weekend of November, and a Coffeyville home football game means something again.
Yes.
And, compared to what happened last season, which I know was not fun for anybody in that locker room and in that building, having football that means something again in November is a huge step for this program.
Yeah, if our fans can battle through, if it is raining, battle through some of the weather, to be out there and showing support. And I know we got a great fan base out there. And if not, they watch the live stream and all that and cheer us on. And it's going to be exciting, man. It's an exciting time now in November.
Well, the Ravens
after Halloween tomorrow.
Absolutely. The Ravens showed last year that they can handle themselves when they play in the rain. We'll see if that comes into play on Saturday afternoon against Dodge City. Coach and Joseph, appreciate you guys' time as always. Of course, if you're looking for some severe weather coverage as these storms roll through the area tonight, head over to the Mighty 690 KGGF. James Copeland has you covered over there. Big thanks to Scott back in the studio. I'm Shane Neal saying so long from Wendy's in downtown Coffeyville. Big thanks to Amber as well, all the work she does with RRSN. We'll be in action for the Dodge City Coffeyville game beginning at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon on US 98 and the Red Raven Sports Network. I'm Shane Neal saying stay dry tonight, stay safe, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.